Paddy Power are offering money back as a free bet if the horse you back finishes second, third or fourth to the SP favourite in at least 2 races every day this month. Max £25 per race. T's and C's apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Hi there, a very warm welcome to the Racing Post Weekend Postcast. We've got a fantastic show in store for you. It's Hennessy, no it's not, it's Ladbrokes Trophy Day at Newbury. There's some great stuff up at Newcastle and over in Ferryhouse on Sunday. Some of the real stars of Irish jumps racing in action, and I'm really delighted to welcome back to the Postcast. It's Paul Keeley, who's been off the card for a little while. He shows he goes well fresh. 2 of his 3 tips won yesterday, so that's fantastic. Kills, you haven't been particularly well. I think it's fair to say that you've used one of your 9 lives up, haven't you?
Yes,
Just
mate.
Tell us what happened.
No, well, I walked into A&E with stomach pains. Turned out to be some sort of gallbladder infection, stones and whatever. Infection went into my liver, and I ended up in hospital for 10 days, which was no fun at all.
No.
I've come out, and since then I've got vertigo, so my head's spinning all the time, but it's completely unrelated. But I'm all right other than that. I've been banging in a few winners.
Banging in a few winners, punting well. You've lost 21 £21, you told us.
Yeah, that don't really show, but
it does. You're looking very, very thin.
But,
and we've all sold our Guinness shares, yeah?
I ain't had a drink for 4 weeks, and it'd be a while yet.
God, blimey, right. Well, it's great to see you back. It's also great to have David Jennings back, and also Frank the Tank Hickeys. And Frank, would I be right in saying that you really do fancy one tomorrow? Because one of your Cliff horses is running, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll wait and see who that is. Okay. Jolly good. Right, OK, well, let's get stuck in then to the 3 o'clock at Newbury. It's the Ladbrokes Trophy. Of course, it's been known as the Hennessy for the last 50-odd years and probably will be known as that for the next 50 years. But it's absolutely the Ladbrokes Trophy. Well done to them for stepping in. Hope the sponsorship goes well. Hope they get a great race. It looks a really intriguing contest as ever. Frank, give us the latest betting from Paddy Power.
Yeah, Total Recall is 5-1 favourite. American and Single Farm Payment are 6-1. Whisper 8-1. A Genie in the Bottle 11-1. Beat the Rock 12-1. Coney Grief 14-1, and we're 16-1 bar.
OK, Kills, because you're back after a long absence, it's only right and proper that you go first. Who wins the Ladbrokes?
Yeah, well, interesting. We still don't really know what the ground's going to be, but we do know that the going stick moved quite a lot from Thursday to Friday morning. I was saying to a guy on Twitter, I walked my dog this morning, there was no dew about, and it was noticeably a lot drier. Now, the front 2 in the market, Total Recall and American, are both very much soft ground dependent, and I think it's going to dry out too much for the pair of them. So I'd take them on. Single Farm Payment is probably the obvious one, having been second at the Cheltenham Festival, but I just worry about him because it's a real long run in at Newbury. I'm not sure he wants one that long. I think head of the market, I think Whisper is perfectly solid. Obviously beat the horse of Clanders Oboe, that's it, of Paul Nicholls at Kempton in a match. Now, obviously with a match you wonder how good that form is, but then Clanders Oboe has come out and given weight to a bunch of horses, a bunch of decent improvers at Haydock, and beat him easily last Saturday, so I think that form's very solid. And one was a much bigger price earlier in the week of Alan King's Label des Oboe. I think that horse will really like the stamina test, and there'd be my 2 against the field. But I was looking at the list of the winners just the other day, and I had a look down, and I'm thinking, no, and I got all the way down to 1984, and Borough Hill Lad the last time I backed the winner.
It was the last time, was it?
So hopefully the name change from the Hennessy to the Ladbrokes might make a difference.
33 years ago, David Jennings wasn't even born. David, who's going to win the Ladbrokes Trophy?
Yeah, I agree with Paul, Bruce. I think of the ones at the top of the market, I think Whispers is by far the most solid. It's funny, I know he won a Coral Cup and he was just beaten in the RSA, but I actually think he's better on left-handed flat tracks. Like, his 2 best performances arguably came at Aintree in the Liverpool Hurdle, which he won twice. And I remember he won a handicap one day by a mile at Newbury a couple of years ago. I think he's done fine since he's gone over fences. And that run against Clanders Oboe at Kempton, Clanders Oboe never missed a beat that day. Whisper did an awful lot wrong. He was a little bit groggy. It was a typical reappearance. Made a couple of mistakes. And the fact that he was still able to get up after the last and beat him, and he won by half a length, like he was value for a little bit more, that was really, really solid comeback, I thought. I think this race will suit him. I think, as I said, of those at the top of the market, I think he's the most solid. Like, Total Recall. Like, I know Tom Siegel is talking about this horse, a potential outsider for the Gold Cup, but to me, it's a bit like, Pep Guardiola maybe taking over Everton and winning his first game 5-0, but then being asked to go and win in Stamford Bridge or something. Do you know, I just don't know if he can improve the horse from a mark of 129 to, like, he's going to be near a 160 horse probably to win this, or certainly mid 150s, and that's a hell of a lot of improvement. So I'd be against Total Recall. I think Whisper is a solid one, and one at a big price, because I think you're allowed 2 in a race like this. I think Missed Approach could go well at 25-1. Like, he led over the third last in the Scottish National. He was second in the 4-miler. He's already hammered labelled as Oboe at Lingfield on heavy ground. I would prefer if the ground was a little bit softer, but he's in first-time blinkers, and I think 25-1 is a big price.
Okay, and Frank, what about you?
I've been having my eye on one with a long time. American, to me, I can accept the point the lads make about the ground, but I don't think, as long as there's digging it, which there should be, it's not going to be good spring ground. Like, it's going to be good to soft. And I think once it's digging it, this thing is a tool. Like the performance he put up last year at Warwick, beating Champers and Nice, you could argue in retrospect it wasn't the strongest race ever, but he did it so impressively. He's just a relentless galloper, which I think this race that's what you want. He'll be up near the front. He'll keep going. Like the day he went to Uttoxeter in a handicap off 148, and he absolutely laughed at them. Rock the Casbah's come out, won at Chepstow since. The 4th, must meet a lady, won a Haydock the next time. And the 5th, Hennane, won last weekend at Haydock. Like, that forman's working out tremendously well. And if there's one horse in this field that's going to destroy him, he's the one. Like, Total Recall off 148. David's given a better, maybe a better, more nicer analogy than I was going to. I was saying it's a bit like taking an ugly person and giving them a makeover. They're still ugly, but just a bit less ugly. And that's what this fella is. Like, off 148, don't be... Like, anyone backing that will want their head examined at 5-1. Honest to God. This American, he's the one horse... Like, I can accept what the lad said about Whisper. He is the most solid because you have the slight question mark about the ground with American. But he's giving £4 to American. And, you know, if this ground was soft, I'd say get everything you have and bang it on him. But the ground is a small question mark. Now, as David said, you like to throw a second dart. If I was putting one up at a price, I'd be with David on Missed Approach. He's good for that. He won a handicap hurdle, albeit off a far lower mark, very easily a couple of years back. Second in the 4-miler. Stamina is assured. Obviously likes the track. 25-1, Richard Johnson on board. I could see him going well at a price. But for me, I'd be gutted if American doesn't win.
And Frank, isn't American part of your absolute life-changing anti-post multiple that's already got one in the bank, isn't it?
Yeah, he's leg 2. We've won up. This is leg 2.
Who was the first leg? Withhold?
No, Bristol Demai.
Bristol Demai, of course it was. Right. Excellent. OK, jolly good. So you're in for a few quid with this one by the sound of it. OK, well done, lads. That's a great start to summarise. David and Paul both like Whisper. Frank likes American and long shots. Paul likes labelled as Oboe. And David and Frank like Missed Approach. OK, that was nice and simple. The 150 is the Ladbroke Handicap Hurdle. What's the latest betting, Frank?
Air Horse 1 is 7-2. Master Dancer 5-1. Old Guard and Jebelani 6-1. Court Minstrel 7-1. Court de Leon 8-1. And we're 10-1 bar.
DJ?
The favourite is pretty solid, but the one I just can't understand why it's such a big price is Dino Velvet at 16-1 for Alan King. Like, this horse was 8th in the Fred Winter last year. It was beaten less than 10 lengths, and it made a desperate mistake, I think, at the 4th or 5th, and it got a desperate passage the whole way through. I thought he was value for finishing closer. He just blew up on his return to action in that listed handicap hurdle at Chepstow behind Silver Streak. I thought he ran better than finishing 5th suggests. He's been dropped £2. Like, he was 8th in the Fred Winter off 125. He's been dropped to 123. He's only carrying 10 stone, and he's 16-1. I think he should be single figures.
Frank?
For me, I would side with Master Dancer. Now, I'm not overly confident, but he just seems a reformed character. He came back on the flat after a short break in September at Chepstow, and he won by 10 lengths off a mark of 64. He's raised to 75, and that still probably could underestimate him. Then he went to Cheltenham off a mark of 117, and again, while it wasn't the strongest race in the world for a Cheltenham handicap, he turned into an unbelievable procession. He's been raised to 129. And just the manner of those 2 wins, he's still only a 6-year-old. I think he's just improved enormously. I'd chance him. 5-1 is fair enough. I think he's if he keeps improving, I think he could be tough to beat.
Who are you going to be backing, Paul?
I've thought for ages that Air Horse 1 is very solid. I mean, he's short enough, but I mean, that fourth to Elgin has worked out so well. Elgin's won the Greatwood, the second limited reserve, won by 8 lengths next time. The fifth, Verdana Blue, hacked up again next time at Ascot. So, I mean, it's rock solid form. You know, I'm an old fan of Old Guard, who I backed in the Greatwood at big prices. Just think the ground might be sticky on the hurdles course, and it might just be a little bit too much for him. And the one I keep coming down to, I'm pretty sure it's not the best handicap horse in the race, Alan King's Coeur de Lion. I am absolutely certain he's crying out to go 2.5 miles though, because he just got outpaced at Wincanton in the elite hurdle and then ran on again. We've got Kevin.
He ran a funny race, didn't he?
Yeah, he just desperately wants to go up in trip, and he's going to get this. Now, I don't think he's the best handicap horse in the race by a long, long way. But he has got Kevin Dowling on, who's claiming 10. He rode a winner for Alan King yesterday. And I think he's quite tidy for a £10 claimer as well. And so I'll probably give him a chance each way to show that, this is the trip he really wants. I think there's improvement to come.
The 225 is the Ladbrokes Intermediate Hurdle. You will know it as the Jerry Field. And what's the latest betting, Frank?
Charlie Parks is 5-2, High Bridge 7-2, Mount Muse 4-1, Poppy Kate 13-2, Amour de Nuit 7-1, and we're 8-1 Bar.
And we will stick with you because the very name Charlie Parks always makes me think of Frank Hickey. Are you going to be unloading on this beast today, Frank?
Oh, very tough, Bruce. I was talking to David earlier about this, and I was like, my heart is telling me back Charlie Parks. He's still got the ability, and we haven't seen the best of him. And my head says, Frank, you're mental. I think, look, I know he worked, he had a racecourse gallop at Newbury the other day with Bouverdare and Divin Beer, and look, he travelled really well in that, but those pieces of work, you can't tell much. The vibes are, he's working really well and he's coming into himself. The only thing you'd worry about is that he's a bit of a morning glory. Now, if he could repeat the first run at Kempton last year, I think he would win this. My heart is going to probably lead me to back him, but I think if you're probably looking for the safer bet, High Bridge, the form of the Ascot run is just working out tremendously well. The winner Elgin obviously won the Greatwood. The second limited reserve hacked up at Haydock. The fifth Verdana Blue won well at Ascot last week, and the 10th Dallas won a chase at Ascot last week too.
And the fourth is going to win the race before, according to Kills.
So
that race worked out tremendously well. And look, he's 2 from 2 at Newbury as well, so everything is in his favour. But there's just something in my head saying Charlie Parks, we haven't seen the best of him yet, and I'm going to side with him. But High Bridge is the one for the safe bet.
Kills, who are you going to be siding with?
Yeah, Charlie Parks is one of those bridle horses, isn't he? Didn't he just get found out at Cheltenham? I think, I can't have him as favourite. I think he's got a lot to prove. High Bridge is a solid one. Obviously, that Ascot form was amazing. But I was struck by Mount Muse last time at I think it was Weatherby, wasn't it? No, it was Ayr on heavy ground. And he looked a really, really decent improver last year. And he was actually made odds on for his return at Ayr on heavy ground. And I thought he was beaten after a furlong. I just didn't think he was ever travelling. But he kept putting his head down and he ran on into third. And I think that, I think he's going to come on an absolute ton for that. I just think it was a massively needed run. And I think he's quite a decent horse. And I'll take the chances with him.
Would you say that you built up a lot of good form study and horses to note while you were off? I mean, what were you doing in hospital? Were you punting or
in hospital? I mean, for the first few days in hospital, I was just spaced out on morphine. I could barely speak properly. It was just apparently to all my mates I was talking nonsense. So no, I wasn't watching much. I was doing a bit of punting on my phone, but I would actually go to sleep thinking I'd won loads of money and then wake up in the morning and there was nothing there. It was bonkers.
Well, that's actually happened to you after a few late night poker sessions, hasn't it?
Yeah. But in the week I was at home, I watched loads of races and punted and actually won a few quids.
And of course now, Kills, we've got the race replays back on the website, haven't we? So that always helps the study, doesn't it?
Just one click away.
So that's all good news. Okay, DJ, who wins the 225?
Yeah, one of us is going to back the winner, Bruce, because we're all picking one of the top three in the market. My whole weekend is going to revolve around High Bridge, Bruce. I can see where Frank is coming from. Charlie Parks could be the real deal. We just don't know, but he hasn't done it. And I'm all for these bridle horses that work really well in the mornings, and apparently he's one of the few horses to beat my 10 or yours in a piece of work. But do you know, I just would love to see him go do it. And the fact of the matter is, the high bridge has gone and he's done it. I think he's a real flat track bully. I really do. His 2 best performances have been at Newbury. And on his return to action in that Ascot race, which is working out spectacularly well, you have to factor in to account that Air Horse 1 never left him alone the whole way up the home straight, kept veering to his left, nudging into him. And Alex Ferguson couldn't really get behind High Bridge. And High Bridge is not a bridle horse. He finds far more off it than he does on it. And I think he was actually value for finishing even closer to Elgin, who obviously won the Great Wood. He's gone up £4, but Alex Ferguson knows this horse so well that he's a kind of a free £7, really. I think High Bridge is made for Newbury, and I could see him taking it up on the home turn, and I don't think they're going to get to him. Like, he beat Azerti and Multicultural by 2.25 lengths back in February, but he could have won by a lot more. He was value for a lot more than that. I think he's virgin on kind of Grade 2 class over hurdles, and I think he'll win, Bruce.
One more, Newbury. It's the 3:35, the Ladbrokes Handicap Chase. Have we got some betting, Frank?
We do there. If you just give me 1 second, I clicked off.
I'll tell you what kills you.
I have it here.
You got it?
Overtown,
Okay, away we go.
I'll give you the betting.
Overtown Express is 7-2, Baby King 9-2, Duke of Navan 5-1, Maracuja 11-2, the Enval 6-1, and we're 12-1 bar.
Kills, you go.
Yeah, I'm amongst the 12-1 bars. I got half a feeling that Just Cameron was going to run well from the top of the weights. Needed the first run last time. But I prefer down near the bottom of the weights, Rock On Rocky. I thought he ran a fine race at Cheltenham last time. He's proper race fit as well now. That was his 3rd run. He's been dropped £3 to that down to a mark of 120. He won off 123 at Sandown last year when he won 3 times on the spin. If you look at his form, nearly all his best form comes on tracks with long straights. So he's a real galloper at 2 miles. And I think off 10 stone 1 with Jamie Bargery taking £3 off, normally ridden by Stan Shepherd, who I'm assuming can't quite do the weight because he is still riding, but I'll take Jamie Bargery anyway. And I just, I cannot have Overtown Express at 7-2 favourite. I mean, he's a horse that has done all his winning on very, very soft ground and got thrashed out of sight last time and has been beaten at short prices before. So I would take Rock On Rocky.
Rock On Rocky for Kills. Who for you, DJ?
I like Duke of Navan, Bruce. I thought that was a really nice comeback at Aintree. He just got really tired. He jumped brilliantly the whole way that day. He kind of fought back. He got a second wind after the last. He was only beaten 1.5 lengths by Baby King. That was off a mark of 140. He's still on 140. He was rated much higher than this year. I think he was up to 147 or near enough 150 a couple of years ago, but he got an injury. He looks to have retained plenty of his ability, and Davy Russell has booked. Nicky Richards likes to book Davy whenever he's over. I just thought it was a really encouraging comeback effort at Aintree, and the fact that he's on the same mark now, I could take a bit of beating.
Okay, the Duke of Navan. You are the Duke of Navan, aren't you, DJ? Basically,
yeah. He named this horse after me, yeah.
And Frank, have you got strong fancy here?
I wouldn't say strong, but I think the Enval will go very well. He went to every dance last season. It took him a while to get going. It took him 2 or 3 runs to really take to chasing. So therefore, I was kind of saying that his reappearance forward, where he's well beaten in Ascot, you could probably forgive him that this season, and he fell at the first in the Betfactor Gold Cup. He runs off 146 here, and I think this race isn't the strongest looking race ever when you compare it to, say, some of the races he ran in last year. Like, he was 3rd in the Grand Annual off 141. He was 2nd at Aintree, beaten by Double W's off 144. 2nd at Ayr behind Two Tafts off 148. And the day after that race against Two Tafts, he came out and ran 2nd to Cloudy Dream with the likes of Old Grangewood, Candace O'Bowen, and Flying Angel behind. I think his mark of 146 is workable, and I can see him going very well. I think 6-1 is a very fair price. OK, well, perhaps Andrew Paulson from London will be having his £25 free bet on Thienval there. He was the one who tweeted in the correct answer to Monday's question. There's another chance to win a £25 or €25 bet from Paddy Power in Monday's Postcast.
Paddy Power are offering money back as a free bet if the horse you back finishes 2nd, 3rd or 4th to the SP favourite in at least 2 races every day this month. Max £25 per race. T's and C's apply. 18+ BeGambleAware.org.
Let's look at Newcastle now. It's the 2:10, the Unibet Fighting 5th hurdle. And Bouverdaire, the reigning champion, reappears. He's very, very short indeed. If any of you 3 don't think he's going to win, say so. But otherwise, after Frank's given us the bet, I just want to discuss how you see Bouverdaire within the context of the champion hurdle. So what price is he for the Fighting 5th, Frank?
He's 2-9 favourite. Irving's 9-2. Flying Tiger 14-1, Marcel 40-1, and Cat Gary 66-1.
Okay, Kills, as things stand, who is your champion hurdle fancy? And what do you think Bouvardere will just win tomorrow?
It'll be Bouvardere at the moment, yeah. I mean, I think, I would love to see Fourine come back, and he looked brilliant, but you would take the younger horse at the moment until we see what Fourine's really capable of against some top notchers. I do think there is a serious dearth of top-class talent among the 2 mile division, which is why we've obviously got a 2-9 favourite in a bad fight in 5th. But as the champion who really powered away last year, I think he's the one to beat.
Okay, well, you've shown that an old master can come back and still do it. DJ, what do you think? First of all, penalty kick for Bouvardere tomorrow, and who are you backing for the champion hurdle if you have to have a bet right now?
Yeah, it's an absolutely deplorable race. Imagine if Bouvardere wasn't here. Now, maybe some of the others would run in this if he wasn't there. But God, holy God. Like, I know this is the race that Irvine wins every year, but it's shocking stuff altogether. I don't know what's going on. Like, I made the point in last week's podcast, which proves spectacularly wrong. I was kind of saying maybe back Defi de Sol for the champion hurdle. And one of my reasons was because there's going to be so few runners in the race. There's nothing around. Like, you take out Fahine, Bouvardere, and like maybe 1 or 2 others. It's very hard to find runners in the race. Like those in the top 10 in the market, maybe 6 of them have gone over fences or are going over fences. So it's a funny old market. So I could see if you did, like back in Bouvardere, maybe each way anti-post could be the safe play here because he's going to run in the race. And I don't think we'll learn a lot. I would be very interested though in backing the unders with Bouvardere because Barry will be giving him an easy race. He's not going to be pushed out. I could see him winning on the bridle by about 3 lengths, and I'd imagine he'll probably be 2 to 1 to win by under 7 or something like that. So if you did want to have a bet in the race, I think he won't win by very far, but he probably won't come off the bridle.
Paul Keeley and I have worked together for 19 years, and for all 19 of them, we've bet so many distance bets down the years, haven't we, Kills? And we've got our stable of jockeys who you never, ever think are going to win very far, and Barry Geraghty is right up there.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, I've virtually packed in doing distance betting. I discovered, just to do my brains day in, day out on it, so don't do it anymore. But
Richard Johnson and Sam Twiston-Davis, you can trust them to push them out.
I mean, I used to like a Paul Nichols novice because he always liked them pushed out to make sure they learned something. Like, what I mean?
Right,
so you'd go to the last, and Ruby Walsh would actually be pushing them out to win by 14, 15 lengths. But no, the old stranglers, you would call them all sorts, wouldn't you?
Do you remember Norman Williamson? Blimey, he would win it absolutely as short as he could. He was the absolute master. Frank, how do you think Bouvardere will do A tomorrow and B on the second Tuesday in March?
Like tomorrow's a penalty kick, and as David and Paul said, like this champion hurdle, there's no depth whatsoever to it. It's absolutely the worst I can remember ever.
They're all in Australia, aren't they? All these horses with any stamina just get sold at 3 and go and race in Australia. So, the actual talent coming into the hurdling pool is drying up, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's just like you're looking at it there, and like I just have the champion hurdle betting open, and you Fahine, Bouvardere, Mellon, then Defi Desai, York Hill, Limini Mint. Like you could literally get maybe this champion hurdle could be a 5-runner race, like. And at the moment, Fahine was very impressive last week, but I love the horse. He's one of my favourite horses, but I would take that with a pinch of salt. I don't think it was the strongest race, and at this moment in time, I think he still has a little bit to prove.
What are the prices? You told us who the horses are, but not what the odds are.
Yeah, so Fahine is 13-8, Bouvardere 7-2, Mellon 10-1, Defi Desai 16-1, and forget the rest. They're relevant.
Okay.
So like as David said, like if you back Bouvardere each way, bar him getting injured and missing the festival, worst case scenario, you're going to lose a tiny bit of the each way bit, because he like at worst he'll be second to Fahine, at best he'll win. I at the moment I'd come down on the side of him. He's improving. He's only beaten since gone over hurdles by Altior and Min, and I think he sets a fair standard. Fahine needs to get up to that, and the next race that Fahine runs might hopefully tell us a little bit more.
Okay. Well, the 320 at Newcastle is a far more competitive affair. It's the Out the Races rehearsal handicap chase. And how do you bet, Frank?
Yeah, Beware the Bears 3-1, Yala Enki 7-2, Bishop's Road and Sam Redder 5-1, our Kempfer Wakander 7-1, and we're 12-1 bar.
DJ, who's going to win this one?
I fancy Bishop's Road, Bruce. There was a bit of 8-1 earlier on the week, and maybe even bigger. I thought that was reasonable value. Go back through his form, and there's a couple of runs that kind of makes you think that he could be he could be quite well handicapped off 144. I think he ran in the race last year and he was rated 154 when he was 4 to Otago Trail. And you know what? It was a much better race last year because you had the likes of Bristol de Mai was second, Definitely Red was third. He was only beaten 9 lengths and he didn't jump particularly well. I remember he clattered into the I think the 5th last, the one before the home straight, and he needed to rally to get back into it. But do you know what? I think a repeat of that performance of £10 lower could be good enough. And Kerry Lee had a couple of winners during the week. So, yeah, a pretty confident vote for Bishop's Road for me, Bruce.
I'm going to ban all reference to these big prices that you judges snap up earlier in the week. Listeners don't want to know that. They want to know what you think of the current prices, man. Frank, who do you like?
I'm with David here. Bishop's Road, I think these are his conditions. Soft ground, the stamina test. His marks dropped 144 at the same mark that he absolutely hacked up in a Grand National Trial at Haydock in February 2016. He hasn't run too often since. He unseated the first in the top when he missed out in the Grand National by 1, I think. He's fallen at Sandown, 4th last year off 10 pounds higher, only beaten 9 lengths. This looks a far weaker renewal. Even last year, at Haydock, he was 3rd behind Bristol de Mai. There was no disgrace in that. We see what Bristol de Mai is capable of in soft ground in Haydock. And this is reappearance since the Grand National. So, yeah, I think 5 to 1, there's 8 runners. If the 8 stand their ground, that's a cracking each way back.
2 bets, 2 votes for Bishop's Road. Kills, what do you like?
Yeah, well, I don't like to show off or anything, but I was backing him at 14 to 1 at the start of the week, and I've been backing him all week. And
that
I think
ban lasted a long time, didn't it?
I think he's a stone cold certainty.
Do you? Here we go.
I cannot have him being beat. The whole weekend is around him. If he ran in, last year's race against the first 3, if he ran against them now, he'd be £20 better off of Otago Trail, £29 better off with Bristol de Mai, and £28 better off with Definitely Red. They've all improved, and he's dropped £10. He is a horse that goes very, very well fresh, and he loves soft ground. Obviously, that was a good run. He ran a race post rate of 157 last year. He's now running off 144. So if he does that again, he'll win. And it's as simple as that. Jamie Moore's gone up there for 1 ride, all the way to Newcastle for 1 ride. Trainer's going really well. The horse has got a record of going fresh. He'll win. He should be 5 to 2, not 5 to 1.
So although you've got the flash price at 4, there's still plenty of meat on the bone.
I'm definitely backing him again. Yeah.
Brilliant. Good stuff, lads. Well done. Now then, it's round-up time before we get the naps. The boys tell us the horses running elsewhere on Saturday that I think we should be backing. Kills. Who have you got?
Yeah, just got one I was looking at in the 120 at Newbury on tour. I know he won last time out. I thought he won very, very easily.
Was that Liverpool?
Yeah, it was at Aintree. Off a might of 135. Only went up £5 for it. I thought that was quite generous.
Yeah, he ran well, didn't he?
Yeah. I thought he won really easy.
Okay, you've got one. I'm sure DJ will have about 38. How many have you got, DJ?
No, just 2 more, Bruce.
Okay,
in the 1250 at Fairyhouse. I think it's worth giving Magic of Light another chance. She ran against the Denaria de Zobo in that listed Mayor's Chase at Clonmel and was jumping really well. And then it fell bloody at the 8th fence. And I just think she's the type of mare that has improved. We've only seen her 3 times over fences, but I think she's a far better chaser than she was over hurdles. And I think this is an ideal race for her. Jessica Harrington's team are back in top form as well. So, yeah, Magic of Light in the 1250 at Fairyhouse. And there was one more at Newbury that I wanted to mention, and it was in actually I think the race that Paul tipped on tour. It is in the 120 at Newbury, Cross Park, trained by Caroline Bailey, ridden by Richard Johnson. Just thought that was a really, really nice run last time. It's off 136, and I just wonder, is there a little bit of scope for improvement there? It was 4th. It was only beaten 6 lengths by Willie Boy that day, but it made a desperate mistake at the second last and would have been a good bit closer, maybe half that margin closer to Willie Boy had it not made that mistake. So I thought Cross Park would take a bit of beating in the 120. And just one more at a big price. In the 1245, Black Corton is in it, this grade 2, the race is named after Johnny Franklin. He could be a big, I don't know what price he's going to be, but I think Elegant Escape will be underestimated. He's only rated 137. He's loads to do on the ratings. But his last two runs were really good behind Mia Storm and Ballyoptic. And I don't think he's as much defined as the racing suggests. So if he was a double-figure price, I'd certainly have a stab at Elegant Escape.
And nothing in the 230 at Fairyhouse, DJ?
Is that your race, Bruce?
It is, yeah. Hey, little boy.
Yeah. I seen it was entered. I didn't know if it was going to run. Yeah, what happened the last day?
Well, I don't know. I mean, Willie said that they made maybe rode him a little bit too aggressively, so I think they're going to hold him up today. But I must admit, he did empty out a little bit at Galway. But so looking forward to that. So fingers crossed he can bounce back there. Frank, what have you got for us?
I've loads. I'll start 210 Newbury Capsule. Won't be much of a price, but she looks really exciting. She's 4 from 4 on the rules. She's 2 from 2 at Newbury. She's really impressive on her hurdles debut. She'll win. At the moment, she looks the one to beat in the Mares and Novice division. So it'll be worth keeping an eye on her because I think she might be the one for Cheltenham in March. And the 12:45, I'm going to go against David here. Although Black Curtain is favoured and he's on a 6-timer, I think this Fountains Windfall could get an easy time of it in front here, and that's not what you want to be doing if you're against him. Out in front, he just keeps going. He turned a competitive entry handicap last year into Procession, winning by 8 lengths over 3 miles. Very impressive that day. A lot of good horses behind. I think No Comment was second. And he made his chase debut at Southern last time, over 2-4. Again, he went out in front and it looked like the Henderson horse was tracking it nicely, and then just kind of from the back of the second last, he just put on the afterburners and stayed on really strongly to win nicely from 11 lengths. That was a far weaker race than this is going to be, but I think if he gets an easy time of it, the step up and trip will actually only help. He could actually slip them from the front here and win. Up in Newcastle, the 105, the French Furs Novice Hurdle, Hear No Evil, won nicely on his hurdles debut at Aintree, over 2.5 miles. He meets Imperial Eloquence at £5 worse terms here, but I think he confirmed the form of that. But it was the 4th. Delir Destraval won the listed novice hurdle at Haydock last week, the Frank form, and this doesn't look the strongest for Lewis, so I think he might take a bit of beating. In the 2:45, the maiden hurdle, this is just something else. Sandy Thompson's a trainer that's probably, and most people would overlook how good he is. He operated 22% this season, which is phenomenal for a small yard like he has. He has a hurdling debut here called McGowan's Pass. He was second on his bumper debut to Sounds Adventure, who was a very good bumper horse in his own right. I think he was 3 from 4, and he was only beaten ahead in the race. He lost by a horse called Better Get Along, I think, of Nicky Richards. That ran the champion bumper, albeit down the field. Like, he beat Bags Groove of Harry Fry at Newbury in 1 bumper, so that's decent enough for him. McGowan's Pass won his next bumper very easily. He's going over hurdles tomorrow. In what potentially could be a match, I think he could be underestimated in the market. In Doncaster, a horse, he's only run twice, but I really like the look of him. Kalashnikov won really nicely in his bumper debut. Weatherby was even more impressive in his hurdles debut last time. Again, it probably wasn't the strongest race, but he meets Irish Prophecy here in what looks a match. Irish Prophecy was the horse, you remember, of Emma Lavelle, that was given nearly 20 lengths lead at Sandown there a few weeks back, and won very easily, but yeah, it was a bit of a farce of a race. I think Kalashnikov, while I'm not going to say he's capable of winning Supreme, I think I can see him easily running in a Supreme. I think he should be too good in that 12:05. And finally, Bangor, Testify is a full brother to Wymot, who was a very good novice chaser for Don McCain. This trip might be a little bit short, but again, I was looking at the race. He should get a free time of it out in front, I think. He's getting £5 on Tommy Silver. If they give him a free time out in front, I think he could be hard enough to catch. He's won at Bangor previously as well. He has some good form, like second to the World's End, etc. last year, so I thought he was interesting. I'm going to take a flyer at 1 in Fairy House. This is going to be probably a very big price, and potentially this is could go off 33-1 and finish beating 50 lengths. But on the other side, the name escapes me, makes his handicap debut over fences off a mark of 120. The hood and tongue tie go on. First time as a combination. He was only a 14-1 shot for the Beffer hurdle at Ballyhandy one off a mark of 139. Although he was well beaten, the fact he was that price off 139 and here he's running off a mark of 120 suggests they've done an excellent job of getting him a nice handicap mark for going chasing. It's a bit of a flyer. He'd probably be 16 or 20-1, but off that kind of rating, it's worth chancing, I think.
What time's that one, Frank?
The 1:25 at Fairy House.
Okay, excellent. Let's get the naps.
This will not be beaten.
I'm going to do one this week. I don't normally, but I really like Court Minster in the 150 at Newbury, ridden by a jockey who I think we're going to hear a lot more of, Mitch Bastian. I think he's a really good young jockey. I like him very much. I like Court Minster, and I think he'll give you a good run for your money. Kills?
Yeah, all roads lead to Newcastle for Bishop's Road in the 320.
David Jennings.
Highbridge 225 Newbury.
And Frank Hickey.
At 3 o'clock Newbury, on a scale of 0 to withhold, I'm closer to withhold than 0 on this American.
OK, good luck, chaps. Well done. Let's look at Sunday.
Paddy Power are offering money back as a free bet if the horse you back finishes second, third or fourth to the SP favourite in at least 2 races every day this month. Max £25 per race. T's and C's apply. 18+ BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome back to the Weekend Postcast. Bruce Millington, Paul Keeley, David Jennings and Frank the Tank Hickey from Paddy Power. We're looking ahead to some really, really good action at Fairy House on Sunday, where there are Cheltenham clues aplenty, plus some really good races in their own right. We'll start at 1:30 with the Bar 1 Racing Hatton's Grace Hurdle. Frank, how do your company bet?
Yeah, Nichols Canyon is 11-8, Apples Jade 7-4, Super Sunday 11-2, Chilios Emery's 10-1, Augusta Kate 16-1, and we're 33-1 bar.
DJ, any day where you've got Nichols Canyon v Apples Jade is a good one, isn't it? Will these two fight it out, or can someone else beat them?
This is the best job in the world this weekend when you've got this race. When you're a racing journalist this weekend, it's incredible. Do you know what? When the entries for this came out, I was kind of thinking Apples Jade would be favourite and Apples Jade would win. And then yesterday, I spent a bit of time studying the race, and I kind of completely turned full circle. And I actually think Nichols Canyon now is going to win because if you go back, like his best performances arguably have come on his first start back. Like he won the Morgiana for the last 2 years in a row. He beat Jer's Girl by 12 lengths in it last year. The year before, he ended Faugheen's unbeaten record. And the year before that, he won his maiden hurdle at Cork. So he obviously goes well fresh and likes to have a break. And you look at his form going right-handed, and it's quite spectacular, really. I think 2.5 miles, first start of the year, around Fairy House. I think he's going to be pretty hard to beat, and it's Nichols Canyon for me.
Could he be slightly underrated, Kills Nichols Canyon? I mean, he's obviously a well-known horse, but he's kind of, if you look at him, he's kind of always been a little bit in the shadow of some of the bigger names at Willie Mullins' yard, isn't he? He's some horse, isn't he?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, he's been around a while now, and he does put in some really good performances. I mean, ridiculously, I was backing him each way for the champion hurdle at the beginning of last season, because he ends up coming out and wins the Stayers hurdle. He's a very, very good horse, and his form right-handed is rock solid as well. So as Dave said, yeah. I mean, I think he's the one to beat. I like Apples Jade as well, though. I mean, it's a real tough race, isn't it? I thought Apples Jade, the way she was, winning at the end of last season,
is she not a spring mare?
Yeah, I don't know. It might be the case that she'd be better in the spring. I was hoping that they might step her up to 3 mile and run her in the Stayers, but I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, it should be between those two. I mean, Super Sunday could improve again, I suppose, but I'd imagine it's between those two.
Do you have a bet?
Probably, but I couldn't tell you which one I would back. It'd be a small bet for an interest.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough. Not very helpful. Frank, Nichols Canyon, Apples Jade, or something else?
Oh no, it's between the two. It's very difficult to figure out. Like, it's probably a race I wouldn't have a bet in. Like, Nichols Canyon's record fresh for Willie is 3 out of 3, so you'd imagine he's going to be ready to rock for this. But Apples Jade, she's had a run in Navan. She won really well, albeit a far weaker race than this is going to be. But she's getting £7 off Nichols Canyon, and with the run under her belt, I think she might just prove difficult to beat. But it's between the two. It's not a race I'd have great confidence picking between the two. But if you force me, I'd probably side with Apples Jade.
Righto. The 1 o'clock is the Bar 1 Racing Royal Bond Novices Hurdle. Previous winners include Hurricane Fly, Jet and the aforementioned Nichols Canyon. Willie Mullins has won the race 6 times since 2008, including the last 3 runnings. What's the latest betting, Frank?
Mainly Khan is 9-4, Red Jack 11-4. Macatorix 3-1, Larichburg 5-1, and we're 14-1 bar.
Competitive. Who wins, Frank?
Oh, it's very difficult. It's a very difficult race. Macatorix is supposed to be very good. He won well at the Stole in his debut, but that was a nothing race. Mainly Khan looked very, very good at Navan last time, winning a Grade 3 hurdle. And although the jockey bookings, Barry Geraghty's on Larichburg and even Mark Walsh is on Early Doors, which suggests that Red Jack could possibly be 3rd string JP, I think his bump performance is really strong, and although he wasn't really impressive on his hurdles debut in Naas, he's still won handy enough. And I just think we haven't seen anywhere near the best of him yet. And again, it's not with great confidence, but I'd probably chance Red Jack. And look at the jockey bookings, I imagine when this race is repriced properly, he'll be a bigger price than what he is now.
DJ, looking forward to this one?
Yeah, but this sniffs of something. I don't know what it is. I just don't get the jockey bookings. They make no sense whatsoever. And I just wonder, will Red Jack run at all? You know, it's a funny one. First of all, I was surprised Barry Geraghty wasn't on Red Jack. And then I was even more shocked, given that he won his maiden hurdle on him, that Mark Walsh wasn't on Red Jack. So I just don't know what's going on. I really don't. I know Sean Flanagan is Noel Meade's stable jockey, but that's neither here nor there. JP has the call, and Barry Geraghty and Mark Walsh are his two jockeys. So it just smells of something, and I don't know what. I think Red Jack, if Barry Geraghty was riding Red Jack, I think he could end up being the best of these. You know, his bumper form is fantastic. He crossed hands for an awful lot of money, and I thought he was reasonably impressive at Naas. On his first start over hurdles. I think he'll jump better when they go quicker. They didn't go quick enough for him at Naas. But yeah, I can't make head nor tail of it, and for that reason, I think it could be a no-bet race.
Okay, Kills, no-bet race for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's difficult. Look, I mean, Mengley Khan has looked really, really good, but Red Jack and Makatorix, although, you know, they're second and third in the betting, and what they've actually done over hurdles, I mean, on RPRs, they are £18 below the top rated, which is Lewisburg, who Barry Geraghty is riding. Now, I mean, obviously they could be anything. This Makatorix was 1 from 9 in France, though, so I mean, it wasn't brilliant over there. I suppose 110 grand isn't that expensive either, is it, for a jump source these days? I'd probably take a chance on the Lewisburgs. Won really easily last time. The runner-up came out and won again next time. Not something I'd be having a massive bet in, because it is guesswork. You know, there aren't any crossing form lines for you to measure, but you know, I think, you know, I think he's the one that's likely to shorten, especially with Barry Geraghty riding.
Okay, and the other race we're going to focus on at Ferry House on Sunday is the 2:35. It's the Bar 1 Racing Drinmore Novices Chase. How do Paddy Power bet, Frank?
Yeah, Death Duty is 8-13, Rathfinden 130, Denario de Zabo 9-1, Satterlove 14-1, and we're 16-1 at both Snowfall and Townsend.
Kills, you're going to be unloading here?
I'm not going to be unloading. I might have a couple of quid on Denario Deso Boa. I just quite like her. Like, you know, I mean, whether she's good enough to beat Death Duty, I don't know, because he did look really, really good last time. But I may play the forecast. I can definitely see her beating Rathfinden.
DJ?
Well, there's a couple of things I'm predicting this weekend, but I would be absolutely staggered if Denario de Zobo went off at 9-1. That looks incredible value. Now, I mean incredible. I think she could go off 7-2, 4-1. 9-1 looks huge. Look, she's not as good a horse as Death Duty, but she's getting a hell of a lot of weight. She's a 4-year-old mare, and this is really, really clever placing by Gordon Elliott. What he's got here is a 4-year-old mare who jumps really well and that loves soft ground. So he's making hay early in the season when she gets all the allowances. And, you know, fair play to him for having a go here. I thought she was absolutely brilliant at Clonmel. She beat Miss Eyecatcher by 22 lengths. Like, she finished like a fresh horse. She finished like she wanted to go around again. It's interesting. I think Jack Kennedy is riding as well. You know, she was absolutely fantastic on her debut over hurdles when she beat 2A Permis, who's no slouch, by 29 lengths at Cork. Ground, I think, is the key. Has beaten Expatriate at Ferry House as well, so has course form. Yeah, I just think 9-1 is a ridiculous price about Denario de Zobo.
Okay, and Frank, what about you?
Yeah, it's not a race I had a really strong opinion on. Yeah, Denario de Zobo is obviously brought into by the weight to get £15 from the top two.
You can hear Frank's keyboard, can't you? Frank's tapping away, changing the price now.
No, I trust our Irish trader, our Irish compilers.
Okay.
Like Death Duty's the one to beat, but like getting the weight, if she can't win here, she's never going to win. But yeah, for me, I think Death Duty will probably win, but he wouldn't be one I would be falling over a cliff though. Like yeah, he'll win soft ground 2.5 mile chases in Ireland, but I think when he goes to England in the spring, you want to be hitting the pink button.
Okay, one horse each from you to back on Sunday, Kills.
Yeah, well, I've got two Sunday actually.
Go on.
Is that all right?
Of course it is.
There's Purcell's Bridge in the 225 at Carlisle. I've had two starts now. Got beaten by a couple of these at Wetherby last time, but it does like Carlisle has won there a couple of times. I think it'd just be fit and ready to go. And then there is, Giovanni just spotted it, a veterans handicap chase at Leicester, so I had to have a quick look at that. And I like Astracad was a good third to the one for Pele, I think it was, at Aintree last time. It's going to go close at Leicester, I think.
DJ?
Two more for me at Ferry House, cracking card in the 205.
Sorry, DJ, I'm meeting all my mates in a minute and going on the piss, so could you make it nice and snappy, please?
Incredibly snappy. In the 205 at Ferry House, right down the bottom, well, almost at the bottom, number 17, Vineyard. for Gordon Elliott and Dennis O'Regan. This horse was second to Thomas Hobson off 125. Thomas Hobson obviously ran the Melbourne Cup. For 125, same mark here. Gets in with just 9 stone 13. Loves Fairy House, and I think this has been his target all season. So 25 to 1 Vineyard. And in the 310, which is the 3 mile 5 handicap chase, I like Fine Theatre here for Paul Nolan and Donny McInerney taking off £5. I think he's crying out for a trip. He's 12 to 1. I think he'll give you a good run for your money. So Fine Theatre and Vineyard would be 2 at bigger prices.
Thank you very much, David. Frank, what have you got for us?
Just a 205. I'm going to go against David with a horse named after him, David's Charm. He's 8 to 1 with us at the moment. His form has been very good. It's gone handicapping. He's won 2 races. But it's the last time out at Listowel. He was ahead second to Lagos to Vegas in heavy ground. He's £7 higher here, and the ground is going to be better, which is suit him. He ideally wants good ground. But that race worked out tremendously well. Swan Fossil's in behind. He won the November handicap on the flat. Top of the Raz won his next 2 hurled races. Lagos to Vegas, who won the race, is Perdon Cesarovic. And the better ground here is going to suit. I think 8 to 1's a cracking each way bet. He won't be out of the first 4.
OK, jolly good. Kills, what's the weekend hold for you?
Well, I'm going to see a consultant about having my gallbladder out tomorrow.
As you do?
Yeah, as you do. And then I'm pretty much off the rest of it, I think, yeah.
Oh, so you're going to take it easy.
Yeah,
Carry on recuperating,
no drinking, no drinking. Which is
excellent. OK, well done. Hope the betting more than makes up for the lack of alcohol. David Jennings, what are you up to, my friend?
Great to have you back, Paul. We've missed you.
Cheers, mate.
I just can't wait. I'm working this weekend, and I just can't wait. It's a great feeling, just dying to go into work. Fairy House both days. OK,
I can't make Fairy House tomorrow, DJ. It's my birthday, so unfortunately I've got otherwise engaged. But do watch out.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Do watch out for Hey Little Boy and give me a little progress report, won't you? Or a little scouting
I will indeed.
report.
I will indeed.
Lovely. And Frank, what about you? What have you got on?
Oh, yeah, happy birthday, Bruce.
Thank you, mate.
I am going to Jimmy Carr tonight, so hopefully that'll be... I went to see him before. He's absolutely brilliant.
Is he good live? Yeah, I've got a feeling he would be. Yeah, I've got loads of mates who absolutely can't stand him, but I think he's funny, isn't he?
Oh,
as one-liners are brilliant.
Yeah, he's my sense of humour now. Like, as in, he sees the line and he goes about 1,000,000 miles past it, and that's what I like. But the last time I went to see him, I genuinely nearly vomited. I was laughing so hard. So I'm hoping for a bit more, and I'm working then for the rest of the weekend, so it'll be quite enough.
I must recommend a comedian for you. If you like live stand-up, you must go and see Stuart Lee if you get a chance, if he's ever over there. Honestly, he's absolutely superb. I saw him in Brighton last year, and like you actually end up with a stitch. It's just, you're laughing your head off. It's absolutely superb. OK, thank you very much, chaps. Great to have you back, as you say, Kills. Good luck to the boys in Ireland. Hope you have a great weekend. Thank you very much for watching or listening. Don't forget, if you enjoy these postcasts, do make sure you rate, review and subscribe on iTunes. We're back on Monday.
Paddy Power are offering money back as a free bet if the horse you back finishes second, third or fourth to the SP favourite in at least 2 races every day this month. Max £25 per race. T's and C's apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.